Thank you, Janice. And also just a super quick reminder about the expectations around etiquette that we have for this weekend. You can find them on the landing page of the website. You should have them in an email as well. Just stuff like muting yourself when you're not speaking and generally being respectful and kind. And yeah, so Rubén Darío will be holding the session, and he is a self-directed learner and an SDE facilitator. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Rubén.
Hola. Hi. Thank you, Fran. Can you turn on your cameras for a little bit so I can see you? If you want, whoever wants. Just to see your faces for a little bit. Ajá. Hola. Hola Raquel. Hola Ariel. Hola Jim. Nora. Annie. Sifa, Ana, Josué, Lauren, Jaden y Audrey. Bienvenidas, welcome, bienvenidos. Some of you have participated maybe in the past offerings of today. So I thought we could start by having a minute of giving our bodies whatever they need. Maybe some stretching, some walking, some breathing, whatever makes sense for you, and maybe we can wait for other people to come if they will. Yeah, so just take this minute to do whatever with your body to make it feel as you want it to feel. Okay. I'll do it too. Muy bien. Before we start, I want to make a disclaimer. Whenever I start Zoom sessions, planes, dinosaurs, war tanks start going on my street behind me. So like motorcycles and all these noisy things start doing. So if you hear any noise and you want me to repeat anything, just let me know. When I don't do Zoom calls, everything quiet, but when I start, we got all these noises. So if you can't hear me, if you want me to repeat anything, just let me know. And now I would like to share here in the chat box some agreements for this session. Just let me copy and paste. I like to offer some agreements to start any encounter, so we have a shared understanding and some infrastructure for our coexisting in these next 90 minutes. So I don't call the shots, but we have a decentralized authority about how we want to live this experience. So I'll put it in the chat box here. I'll read them. First one, respect yourself, others, and the other meaning this space. Give what you can and want, ask for what you need. Second one. Third one, presence. I don't mind if you leave or if you go to pee or if you want to just, I don't know, send a message or whatever, but if you come, we request or I request that you have presence with yourself and others. Confidentiality about personal stuff. So like if you like the games and the things that happen here, you can share. Yeah. Yeah, okay. You can share any of the dynamics that happen here, but if someone shares something personal, just leave it here in this circle. Self-regulate impact. We'll have some activities that require us to have limited time for them. So self-regulate your time, your speaking time, and also self-regulate your words and how you interact with yourself and others. And good question. Maybe if someone shares something very private and we don't want to have that shared with other people, we can request Janice to just cut that part of our recording, if that makes sense. See? Muy bien. Yeah, and just give me explicit permission to facilitate this session. If someone doesn't understand any of this, let me know. And if you don't agree with any of this, let me know, so we can talk about it. But if you agree, please put a Y on the chat box, or just thumbs up here, or yeah, perfect. Muy bien. Great. So, Janice, if people come in, it doesn't make any noise, right? Right, so we have a quiet entrance. Perfect. Muy bien. So I would like us to start with a moment of silence. You don't have to do anything. You can close your eyes if you want. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to say any mantras or whatever. Just a moment of silence so we can reset ourselves from whatever we did in the recent past, and just start present for this session. While in this moment of silence, connect to the intention that brought you here. Just bring it to the front. What brought you to this weekend, into this session specifically, and connect with that. I would like to express mine. I really value truth, and I really value the process of discovering truth in myself, in my relationships, in the world, and I would like to dedicate this session to that dynamic of discovering, uncovering all the things that don't allow us to to connect to that truth, whatever that means for any of you. So if the people without the camera on could turn it on for a couple of minutes, I have a little game to connect now amongst ourselves. Nice. If you don't want to, you don't have to. The first agreement that says respect yourself, it also means that if you don't want to do something, you don't do it, of course. Great. So I don't know how you do it in the phone, but here in the computer, if you put the, how do you say, this little marker, like the mouse marker, on top of any person's face, person's camera, you'll have 3 dots on the top right corner, and then you can click on that and you can anchor or fix, right? And you'll have just that person instead of the whole of those, the whole group, right? I don't know how you do it in the phone, but I would like you to choose one person, just from the group, choose one person and bring and anchor that image. Just anchor that face, that person, and just see them. Just see that person. Okay. Did I make myself clear or not? Sí, muy bien. Good. Have rusty English. So if you have chosen a person and you have fixated that image, give me a thumbs up. Muy bien. Perfecto. Great. So now, just look at the person. Look at that person and look at the details, the general details of that face, right? No judgment, just observing, observing shapes, observing colors, and let's also notice feelings, maybe the feelings of potentially having another person watching us. No problem, just feel what you feel, and look at this person again and see maybe the shape of the eyebrows, for example. Just pay attention to that, and maybe now go a little bit up to the forehead if you can see it, and see if you feel any, like if something catches your attention of the forehead. And now go down to the eyes. You can see the shape of them as well, and the color. And go now lower to the nose, shape, size, cheeks. Notice yourself as well, and notice again the feelings of potentially having other people watching. And go to the mouth now. Maybe you can see some teeth, maybe you can't. Thank you, Nora. And now to the chin, and go and zoom out a little bit and just see the whole face again, the hair, and just stay with that person a little bit, stay with that presence. And I will share these next 70 minutes or so together, and I wanted to create this little space for us to connect to each other, just briefly, because I have to confess that I struggle with digital sometimes. I like physical more. But yeah, let's just use this space to connect a little bit. And now when you feel ready, you can go back to whatever view you prefer for this Zoom call. And just thank the person that doesn't know you watched them. Just thank them for allowing them to be watched by you. Okay, great. So now I would like to know if you have a spoon close to you. Spoon. Do you have any spoons close to you or at hand? No? Do you have a mobile device? Cell phone maybe? Yes, cell phones. Yeah, successful. Great, so grab your cell phone. Even if you have that as the medium for this call. No worries. Great. So now, can you show me cell phone? Yeah, perfecto, muy bien. So how do you use physically this cell phone? What do you do with it? Yeah, you text, right? You text, or you maybe call, or you, like if you do like me, sometimes you, right? So imagine that you have just now first encountered this subject, okay? You don't know what it means, you don't know what it does, okay? So just try to find briefly, 45 seconds, a minute, just briefly try to create a different relationship to this thing that you already know how it works. Try to find a different relationship physically with this phone, right? If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it, but it will warm us up for the next activities. So do your thing. Place it different parts of your body. Notice texture as well. Weight. Temperature. A friend once told me that a lot of the power that a human being can experience comes from relating to the same thing in different ways. And I like practicing that. Okay, you can keep playing, or you can now put your phone down, and we'll move to the next game. I like playing, so I brought a lot of games. Please take them as games. Don't take them as prescriptions. Don't take them as things that you should think or you should do, or if you don't do these things, then it means you're a bad person or wrong or whatever. I just brought games that we can play and explore. So I wonder now in this game mentality, if you can see what comes from the sky. Can you see it? Can you hear it? Can you? Or you can't? Can you see it? There far behind that cloud, can you see it or not? Yeah? No? Not yet? Sure? Todavía no? Can anyone see it? Please unmute yourself and tell me what you see.
Just the ceiling.
You see a ceiling. Beyond the ceiling, can you see anything?
We can't. The camera doesn't go up there.
Oh no.
You have to tilt it.
Can anyone see something?
Do you mean through your Zoom or for us?
No, there in the sky. We're here together. Can you see it there? We're all together. Can you see it there or not?
I cannot.
You cannot. Can anyone see it? It's very big and it's coming down rapidly.
I can see it.
You can see it. What do you see? You can't. Can anyone see it? Very big, now coming down, getting closer and closer. Trees. Behind the trees. Over there.
You mean the pancakes?
Not the pancake. It might look like a pancake, but bigger. Can you see it or not? You can't.
Okay.
All right. So
is it the sun?
Imagine this. What? Yeah. Imagine there's a big ship. All right. Big ship. UFO. You cannot identify what it is. All right, but it comes down faster and faster. Can you see the colors now? Can you see the lights? Can you? What colors do you see?
Purple,
Red and green.
silver.
Yes, all of them. What shapes do you see?
Triangular, round.
So it's coming down and down and down. And now we have it right here above our heads. And it's starting, I don't know how you say it in English, but some creatures started descending from it. All right? Alien creatures. Guess who those creatures are?
Klingons.
Yes. More specifically, we are those creatures. All right? We are those creatures that came from who knows where. All right? And we just landed in Earth, and you just know how to speak English. All right? But you don't know anything else. You just know how to speak English, but you don't know anything else. So if maybe you see first this body, right? You don't know what this means, right? You don't know because you just landed and you just appeared in this form, and you see objects as well, and you see different states of objects, right? So just take 1 minute. I promise this will lead somewhere. Take 1 minute to observe things around you, observe your body as well, and instead of saying this is a hand, ask what it is and why is this? Why is this here? All right? Instead of saying this is a bottle, remove meaning. Remove meaning from your context. Remove meaning from yourself. You don't know what it is. Not something specifically. Just look around and remove meaning from things. For the next minute. Muy bien. Now we will go, suspend alien for a little bit. Now we will go in pairs. I request Janice help me with that. We'll go in pairs for 3 minutes. So you have to choose number 1 and number 2. For 3 minutes, number 1 will continue role-playing alien, and we'll ask number 2 whatever they want to know about what they see through that camera, or maybe in their own context. You will ask questions, right? Alien will ask questions for 3 minutes, and number 2 will respond as best as they can to those questions, and then we will switch. Number 2 will become alien and will ask questions, and number 1 will respond. Very important that you time. Okay, you time those 3 minutes, because I don't know if we can time them or not, Janice, but if you time them as pairs, it will work better. All right? After those 6 minutes end, then you share whatever you felt, whatever you experienced. Okay? See? Any questions? Josue and Karis, maybe you want to do it together if you want. Yeah. So we don't put you in a breakout.
It works out to do with them in a room.
Great. So we'll have a room of 3. Perfecto.
How long is the last part?
So 3 minutes, and then 2 minutes to share insights. Okay? Full alien, starting.
Oh, hold on. We lost somebody.
No worries. So just click join. Did we have a decrease of audience, maybe?
They'll be coming back in shortly.
Muy bien. Did you have any existential conversations? Yeah, we did. We spoke about light and love.
Yeah, that's pretty essential, I feel.
Yeah. Hola, Lauren. Hola, Nora. Do we have anyone else pending? Muy bien. Let's wait for a little bit. Hola. Welcome. Bienvenidas. Anyone else? No. Sí, no.
I think that's it now.
That's it. Perfecto. How did it go? How does it feel to not know?
It's so fun.
Uh-huh.
Fun and interesting. And
Go ahead.
Jennifer was pointing out in our meeting that it was just as interesting not to know as the human listening to the questions, to not really have answers to things that we take for granted. And so that was pretty fascinating to try to explain something that I'd never had to explain before. Like what is music, or what is winter, things like that.
Some existential conversations happened with this game. Anyone else wants to share?
I'll go. So I'm Lauren. I'm here in Austin, Texas. I have a background in anthropology. So I love approaching our own society and our own surroundings from that viewpoint of like why do we do these things, and what is the significance, and what is like the deeper cultural placement. So it's really fun.
When I say transform judgment into curiosity, what do you feel and think?
It's an
I'll go-
exciting. Sorry, go ahead, Becca.
no, go ahead. Okay. Well, it immediately makes me think of why I chose this session, because I was curious, and also my intuition said come here, and I was very conscious aware of suspending any judgment, not that about your bio, not that I had any judgment about your bio, but it's actually what invited me in. Yeah, how you wrote your bio.
Gracias, Raquel. Anyone wants to share? What does it feel when I say transforming judgment into curiosity? What does a movement look like?
It feels freeing to me, because I know I unfortunately know my Myers-Briggs, and I am a J, so I feel like I can be very judgmental of myself, of others, and I am constantly trying to transform that into more just curiosity, observation, releasing the judgment so that I can be freer from judgment can feel so constricting to me. And it's also, I think one of most humans' greatest fears is to be judged or not really seen for how we are. So moving from judgment to curiosity feels like, oh, it just opens up space inside of me, and it's exciting.
¿Alguien más? Anyone else?
I was thinking with the other exercise about, like, my daughter's just turned 4, and it's a really great time because she has so little judgment and tons of curiosity. And so the way that she's like understanding and discovering the world just kind of opens me up to be more curious and less judgmental, but also a little bit like envious of. And I think that was why the exercise was so nice, like to be able to empty my head of judgment and to be curious feels hard. Like the judgment comes first, and then the decision to like push that away and be curious comes after. And I wish I could come with the curiosity first without the judgment.
Let's make visible that I don't want to judge judgment. I just want to understand. And do you guys see any value in judgment? First, what does it mean for you, judgment? What does it mean?
I think of it as putting things in categories first. I mean, it's not necessarily good or bad, right or wrong first. At first, it's just kind of, that's a chair, that's a street, that's a cloud. I mean, we're just kind of putting things in boxes just to understand them. So I think it does have a value to put it in, to put things in categories, especially if you can be open to the categories changing. But I think that's where I think it gets in the way of curiosity, because as soon as you have labeled it something, then your brain gets to move on. I think that's the other value. Our brain likes it because our brain can kind of do it and then move on and kind of go past it. So sometimes it's hard to stay curious if you're in the mode of categorizing.
I think it has to do with discernment too. Noticing what you're drawn to, what you're not, your preferences, which again aren't good or bad necessarily. Some people love pizza, some people hate pizza. It's like you're saying categories, but it's also with a value on it, but that can be personal for each person. It's not universal. As long as we understand it, I think that's where judgment gets a bad rap too, because so many of prejudice is in prejudgment, right? Without any experience. So I think that's, if you are making your judgments without any experience to back them up, that's where I think they can be problematic. Whereas if you have some foundation, you can say, okay, I am judging it's not smart to cross the street right now because there's traffic. Like that's a good use of judgment, right?
I think
Oh, I'll say just to kind of build off of that. I think judgment could be a positive thing at times, because I feel there are moments where it's tied into your intuition, and there's like this judgment thing that kind of comes to you. You're like, I don't know if that would be the best idea for me at this moment, because there could be harmful or not, the best outcomes from it. And I think as like a species, whether alien or human, I think it's just allowed us to live as long as we have and survive on this planet, as long as we have to kind of thrive. And then even with that judgment, sometimes some people were drawn to do something because their judgment told them not to mess with it, but other people were curious why the other person was judging it. From it, I think it kind of just, they coincide with one another to help expand just humans and our curiosity and our progress and all that.
I think we have no choice as we move through the world to judge, each footstep as we take it, and to like consider the things and the people around us to reach judgment so that we can keep moving through the world. But ideally, we'd be able to constantly be reevaluating any judgment that we've reached, even things that we hold true on kind of a deeper level. So trying to marry judgment and curiosity together, I guess.
I agree. When I go in my car, if I go alien mode, that can become very dangerous, right? I see value in judgment, and I agree with Lauren when she says that that we have an inclination, to judge first, because we evolve through judgment, right? When we found a tiger, the first person that found a tiger, and the other people saw how that tiger attacked this person, that built some knowledge, right? So we need judgment to survive, as Josue said, right? What I want to invite in this session and in life, with my facilitation work, I want to figure out ways to suspend judgment when curiosity has more value, right? I don't think we cannot, well, maybe some people can, to suspend judgment permanently. I can't, for now. And I figure out ways in which we physically, mentally, emotionally, how we can suspend this judgment and invite curiosity, invite what wants to emerge. A lot of the work that we do as facilitators of self-directed education, we want to listen to what wants to emerge, right? We want to make space for people to show up as what they want, as what they need, not as how they should show up, right? Making space for people to breathe beyond shoulds. Just that for me constitutes a safe space. So I always wonder how we can do it. Okay, I brought lots of things we can do, and I will share, and we'll make a decision. Maybe we can do many, not all, because of time. Just along the lines of how we can suspend judgment in relationship when we don't want that judgment to limit what wants to emerge. Truth of the moment, okay? So I brought an offering that involves the body. We do it in pairs. And I brought other offerings that involve more conversational modes. If you would like to play with your body, again, a game, just see it as a game, not a performance, nothing, just a game. If you want to go there, please write on the chat a B of body. And if you want to go conversational mode, please write a C, and we can sense what wants to emerge here. So we have almost all C's. Sifa, did I pronounce correctly? Sifa? Yeah? No? Maybe I can then share the other activity with you so you can explore if you wish. Let's go conversation mode. Bueno. I have a friend that says, el problema es el problema. La persona nunca es el problema es el problema. That means the problem is the problem, the person is never the problem, right? She says this when conflict arises, right? I would like to offer a question to go into our next activity. What does it mean to experience life as you? What does it mean, right? We have in our lives people that we have already formed, that we have already put in boxes, like Jim says, right? And we relate to those people by listening to our past experience with them. I want to invite us to not let our past experience determine the next one. And not in a new agey way, in a really practical way. Not let this last sentence this person said determines how I will interact next. This means turning off autopilot. This means moving from reaction to creation, from reaction, from inertia, from just responding to a stimulus to creation. Okay? And I will give you two features of conversation, two characteristics of conversation that you can, in the next 10 minutes or so, that you can use in order to suspend that autopilot and see what emerges from that. One has to do with the body, and one has to do with language. I'll start with language. Maybe you have noticed or not. I practice something called E prime. Do you know E prime? ¿Sí? No? No. Bueno. E prime, when you practice, you don't use the verb to be in any of its conjugations. So you don't say, this is big or heavy or whatever. You say, I find this, or I see this, gray, heavy, whatever. You don't say, that person is lazy or magnificent, or you say, I really enjoy this company. I find it magical when you speak like this. I love watching you. Or I don't like when you say stuff like this, right? So with E prime, two things happen for me. One, you don't see reality as an object, but as a process. You don't see reality as an object, but as a process, something happening, something in existing, right? And the second one, you become responsible of what you experience. You go from reaction to creation. Responsible as in able to respond and not just go with the whatever inertia of our thoughts, of our trauma or whatever, right? And the second one that has to do with the body, you take a long, deep breath before you speak. Not a cosmetic breath and you speak. Like a long one, and if you need two, and if you need three, right? Whatever makes sense for you. This has some physical consequences. For example, you move from the amygdala, I don't know how you say that in English, amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. So that changes things. You also have the opportunity to release tension. I didn't say this, but I see judgment as an expression of prescription. I see judgment as an expression of prescription. So you have prescriptions, right? And now we just enact them through inertia with our bodies as well. And when you breathe long and deep, you can also remove tensions from your body. If you want to remove them, at least notice them, right? You remove those tensions that for me express prescriptions that we sometimes don't understand, but our body holds. I have a tension here, for example, in the lower lip. I have a tension here since I had 5 or 6 years old here. I also have a tension in my butthole. I always do like this. When I drive, for example, I have tension there, right? Some people do it in yoga. You call that, I don't remember. But sometimes you want that tension, but as you go through life and you have these tensions, or maybe here as well, they communicate some prescription that your body holds from some experience. So when you breathe in and you let go, you can at least notice what prescriptions run through your body. And you can also, in a more metaphorical sense, you can also, when you breathe in, you speak from inspiration. Physically, you speak from inspiration. You inspire first and then you speak. And when you inspire, you can notice the inertia of your thoughts and what you wanted to say. And you can check in if you actually want to say that or not, right? It gives you space. It just gives you space. even to feel if you really want to say something or not, because sometimes we have the prescription that we have to say things, that we have to participate because we want attention, or because we want to win an argument, you know, because or whatever reason. So when you breathe, you can also check in if you actually want to interact, and if so, how. From the truth of the moment, always listening to what wants to emerge, suspending the past experience, if you want, in order to respond and not react, to create and not react. Does that make sense? ¿Sí? Más o menos, more or less. ¿Sí? Yeah. Bueno. Anyone has any questions or comments before we go into conversation? Muy bien. So we'll do, starting from the question, what does it mean to experience life as you, right? What does it mean? You know, how does it feel like? You know, we will use E prime to communicate as far as you can go. I sometimes make mistakes as well and use the verb to be, and then I just find another way to say it. And breathing first, and then speaking. If you want and can, go beyond small talk. Ask something that you feel really curious about this other person. And if you don't, you can share silence as well. You don't have to speak, right? So we'll go into pairs. Hopefully we won't have the same pairs, but if it happens, no problem. And we'll have 5 minutes of me asking questions to another person, right? With these features that we mentioned. And then we switch 5 minutes to receive questions from the other person. True, authentic questions that you want to elaborate and you want to articulate for this other being. See? Good. See? Great. So click join and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Bien. What did you experience? I will go pee, but I can still listen.
What was just said?
I think he's having a bathroom break, but he can still hear us. Right, Ruben? Well, he's muted, so you can't tell us, but I think he can still hear us. So I think he's okay with people just sharing experiences.
You start, Fran.
I think we all thought it was really challenging to not use the verb to be. It's like in every other sentence.
How did you feel when you struggled? What did your body feel?
Judgmental.
We had an interesting conversation with Jim about it. Jim, would you like to share a little bit?
Yeah, I guess I felt that idea of judgmental, the place that Ruben helped me notice that I was feeling, where in my body I was feeling about it, and I thought that maybe it was from this feeling of feeling like I was being judged, feeling like I was doing something that someone else could critique and find me right, correct, or incorrect. So I think that was just my self-critic there doing that, but it's such a good challenge, I think, to use more active words and turn off I think it just was a great way to step outside myself and see how I was talking. But
Go ahead.
I love the way that it put me in my body and my feelings. To use feeling language rather than judging language or defining language was really powerful. But I also noticed how I was not breathing. And it's very ironic and funny because I have just finished writing a talk that I'm going to give that's about listening. And I have them in the audience take 3 deep breaths. I am so aware of how important breath is. I feel like breath is its life, right? And here I am, I have 3 minutes and I felt like I didn't breathe. So I think for me, holding the breath, it was a great experience because I feel like, oh, I must have felt nervous and seen and uncomfortable. And I have a little bit of a headache brewing. All these things that made it feel like I can't really be present in my body. I don't want to be, that feeling when you don't want to be in your body. So it was just amazing how much insight you can have in 3 minutes because we had 3 people, so we did 3 minutes each. So yeah, thank you for that.
I find this very, very core what you say, Ariel. We have so much emphasis in our mental processes. Also as a schooling feature, right? We disconnect body and emotion because the pyramidal collective intelligence of schooling does not want the complexity of feeling or our body, right? So it wants things simple and mineralized, right? And we in self-directed education we want complexity. We invite complexity, right? We navigate complexity, and I find it really, really interesting that it's like here in your mind, you read this book or you went to this seminar and for example, you don't have to polarize, right? Like you shouldn't polarize. If someone says something, like you can breathe and then you just respond to the thing in this way or this other way. But we have not integrated first, why do we react? That I find the question why more important than how to change the thing. First, let's understand what happens in my body, what happens in my emotional body, and just don't get attached to this new prescription, right? Like you have to become this, and you have to behave like this, and you have to speak like this, and we have so many mental prescriptions that we integrate mentally, but in the rest of our being, they stay disconnected from the actual reality of our being. So I really value the process of first, instead of asking myself, how do I speak deeper with my mom, for example, or how can I communicate better with her? I say, why don't I do this? Like, what of this state of our relationship I value, even if I don't like it? What of this known I still value, even if I don't like it, right? And when I start understanding things, even if I don't actively do something to change, things start changing. I don't tell you this for you to prescriptively do it, right? Just as a process of my own, and how we can also start integrating these realizations. Do you say that? This is like things you understand with your mind to the rest of your body. I will send you the body game. Maybe you want to play at some point with whoever you trust. But yeah, so I have 2 more activities that I would like to do, but we have only 10 minutes, so we'll have to choose because we want to respect time. And so one has to do with, I want to figure out a way to do both. Well, I'll explain one and I'll give you the cue and you can do it whenever you want, if you want, and then we'll do the final one that I had prepared. So as a self-directed learner, I want to know where I perpetuate judgments of myself. if we take judgment as the expression of prescription, I want to know which prescriptions conduct me to feel the way I feel about myself and how I see myself, right? And some of these come from old programming or old wounds. So I have 2 questions that I will give you. You can take or not, with the intention of shedding some light to those potential limitations and judgments you have about yourself that come from old prescriptions in the form of programming or wounds. Does that make sense? I wanted to explore as a group, but we don't have time, so I'll just send it to you. And I have more. You can also ping me and we can continue this process in another time. So here, I'll paste them in the chat box. The first one says, which goals have I set for myself as a result of compensations to old wounds? Proving, I quote, I'm enough, or proving some to parents or parental archetype projected on the world, seeking validation, proving we are not like our parents, you know, all these. I use the verb to be consciously here. Muy fuerte, fuerte, fuerte. And the second one, where in my life do I still run the programs of my childhood, early models of success, of my own personality, what I have the capacity to do, or what feels meaningful for me. And I use the is because we have this, you know, programming like set as fixed features of our identity, right? So I'll just leave them there, explore them if you wish, and we can continue the conversation through email or WhatsApp or whatever. I think of this as a self-directed learner, as a human being, as a self-directed learner, and as a person who holds space for other self-directed learners to evolve, right? And when I notice, for example, the answers of these questions for my life, I also feel attentive to not creating more karmic prescriptions for people that I play with in these spaces, right? So again, how can I become a safe space for people to come and show up as they need or want instead of how they should, right? Do it. Of course. We have agreements. We have certain things we allow and certain things we don't allow. But if you play within this social container that we all have agreed upon, if safe, legal, and respectful, just I let that. But these questions and more that I have allow me to not only address that in myself, but not create these karmic, obstacles for other people. People cannot discover their truth if you continuously say how they should behave, right? I don't care about tools. I don't care about the agile tree. I don't care about Kanban boards. I care about creating space for people to discover their truth. And these questions, understanding for myself, if I don't do it myself, I cannot give that to others. So because of that, I wanted to share this with you. Any comments before we start closing the session with a little meditation that I prepared for you? Any questions, any comments, any insights, any discomforts, any complaints, any judgments?
I was curious why you had the lowercase self and the capital self in the title.
So I think we have a little self that I call the reactive self, the prescriptive self. And I think we have a big self with blurry lines, blurry lines with the other people. So we have a big self and a little self. And I call the big self the creative self, the emergent self, the always transforming self. So thank you for asking. I had forgotten about that. So yeah, I like to differentiate, my little being in the world and just this big self that I want to cultivate. Also this dimension where I identify myself beyond this limited little self. Did I answer your question? Yeah. Any other sharings?
I am wondering if I suppose what you do for work, and if we can talk with you further, one-on-one or in group setting or whatever the case is.
I don't know exactly what I do for work, but all the things that I facilitate have this intention of unfolding, letting truth unfold. I facilitate with kids and adults, with adults in trainings for self-directed education mostly, the schooling conviviums as well, like the schooling encounters. And I also do one-on-one conversations with whoever wants to chat and play with me. So yeah, the answer, yes, you can continue communicating with me. I'll give you now my phone number and my email. Sí. ¿Algo más? Something else?
I was thinking of something that about curiosity that I remember that John Dewey, if anyone's ever read any John Dewey, he talks about this idea that all learning is relearning, that we can't really everything that was new to us, we always have to compare to something we already know. And it makes me feel like that's really kind of the source of judgment, that we always have to make a comparison, and in order to compare, there's a judgment. And maybe that you got me thinking that maybe curiosity has to do with, rather than comparing the new thing to the one thing that you think it's like, is instead that you ask, what else could this be like? And the idea that the more different things I can come up with to compare with the new idea, that's kind of the curiosity and creativity, is rather than limiting ourselves to this thing compares to this one thing, is there's an openness to that because I don't think we can ever get away from this idea of comparing the new to the thing that we already know. But I think there's a way to do it in a curious fashion.
I really like the idea of integrating and transcending. You do not negate the history that you know, but you suspend when convenient to form new relationships, right? Through the breathing, through the language, through art, through the body movement, through whatever makes sense, to suspend the old, open your mind, open your heart, open your will, and find what feels truthful. Even if it looks like the old one, it doesn't matter. For me, it matters to transcend the prescriptive mechanics of life, not the content of the experience, but transcend how we get to that experience, right? So yeah, like suspending the old, however you want, breathing, soccer, meditation, ayahuasca, sex, play, sports, whatever. And then open up to what wants to emerge and create new relationships there, whenever it makes sense. Not when you go cross the street, when you go with the car, whatever, right? Or when you sign important papers. There, maybe you want to stay with what you know. Sorry, I will read the chat because I have not. This question, the second I thought about. When you use E prime in Spanish, do you leave a set and start? I do. Yeah, I do. We have a trick word in Spanish, the verb haber. So, like technically, it like you can use it, but it like functions the same as cero estar. So you can upgrade and not use haber. Yeah. Well, we don't have any more time. Let's just end with some gratitude. If you want to share any, I feel very grateful for this opportunity. I really, I had a hard time transcending my judgment to digital. experiences. When Bria sent me the, hey, would you like to join and play? I felt like, oh no, digital, and I cannot touch people, and I cannot see them, and I cannot, smell and listen. But then I really value the work that the Alliance does, and I feel very connected to this work. So I feel happy that I transcended this this judgment, so I could come and play with you. If you have any questions, for example, where do I live? I live in Mexico, Jalapa, Veracruz, the east coast of Mexico. Welcome to visit anytime.
Rubén, sorry, perhaps if you have like social media handle or a website or something, you'd like to pop it in the chat for people, because it sounds like people would like to contact you and stay in touch. Or if you're comfortable giving your email out, that too, whatever you want to.
I have removed myself from social media because it brought a lot of prescriptions to me, but I have an email. Here I will share, and let me paste. I made a little website when the COVID phenomena started. And I will share that with you as well. It has some information. I don't consider this the best place to understand things, but here you go. And part of my work you can find here. I play with the Agile Learning Centers network. And yeah, if you use WhatsApp, you can find me at or Telegram or Signal with the plus at the beginning. Gracias. Thank you for coming. Thank you for playing. Thank you for trusting the alien game and the cell phone game and everything we played here. I really liked it and enjoyed. Muchas gracias. Gracias a todas.
Thank you.